Destiny Productions presents Power to Win with Dr. Valerie Daniels Carter. Expect a powerful half-hour broadcast that allows you to engage from the business world to the spiritual world, to be inspired and to be informed, empowering, enlightening, mentoring, enriching. Like us on Facebook and follow us on YouTube and Instagram. Remember, you have the power to win with Dr. Valerie Daniels Carter.
Hello, we're live tonight, so take a moment and tag and share this session. We are live tonight. The Wisconsin First Jurisdiction Women's Department just is completing a powerful prayer time, and so I'm ready to go. I'm energized and excited. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining with me. Please allow me to share a prayer with you as we open this session of Power to Win. O Lord, our God, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, from the rising of the sun until the going down of the same. Your name is worthy to be praised. So we praise and magnify you for just being a wonderful God, for being a protector and a keeper, for looking on us and allowing us to go from day to day, moment to moment. Now bless these your hearers is my prayer. In Jesus' name. Amen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As I stated earlier, we are live and in person tonight. So I'd like for you to like, share, and tag this session. Invite entrepreneurs, business leaders, executives, pastors, ministry leaders, missionaries, and others that you may know, both young and old, to join with us on tonight. I promise tonight I will summarize the 10-step protocol for business excellence that we have been discussing for the last several weeks. And then we'll use the majority of our time, hopefully, to respond to questions you have forwarded to our team. Thank you so much for your engagement and your questions, and I am going to try to deal with as many of them as I possibly can. And even as we're dialoguing tonight, feel free to place your questions in the chat box or the comment section. Our team will continue to communicate with me your questions, and I will try my best to respond with an answer. And if I don't have the correct answer, I'll just tell you, I just don't know. You know what? No one knows everything. But I promise you tonight I'll try to get to as much as I can. Feel free to go to my website and get a copy of the books that I've offered, and take a moment to go to our merchandise tab. We have some wonderful Power to Win items, and one day I need to probably put them on screen for you. But if you go to the website and look under our merchandise tab, you'll see some wonderful Power to Win items. Proceeds from our merchandise tab, or the merchandise we sell on the website, assist and help, really does help us to continue our educational, business, and ministry initiatives, both here and abroad. We are very gracious for you sharing with us. My website is www.valeriedanielscarter.com. That's www.valeriedanielscarter.com. Okay, So your job before I get started is to take a moment now and share, tag, and like this session. Say it with me. Share, tag, and like this session of Power to Win, the reality of recovery uninterrupted. So as I begin to think about how I would lay tonight's session out, the first thing I wanted to do was ask you a question. And you should be able to answer this question if you've been keeping up with our series on the 10 points and protocols. The first question I want to ask you is, where does good success come from? Where does good success come from? Correct. It only comes from the Lord. Okay, so you got the first question right. Number 2, the second question I want to ask you is, what happens when you combine God's formula for good success with the VDC 10-step business protocol platform for executing business excellence? Say it one more time. What happens when you take God's formula for good success and combine it with the VDC 10-step business protocol platform for executing business in excellence? I'll give you a moment. You got it. It allows you to operate in overflows. Why is she so excited? Why is Dr. Carter so excited tonight? I'm excited because I see your future, and I know your future is going to be much brighter than your past. So I'm so glad to be with you tonight and share and dialogue with you. And I'm looking for the blessings of the Lord to overshadow you. As I have shared with you before, great leaders are not born. They are developed and created through time, patience, experience, and mentoring. I'm going to say that one more time. Great leaders are not born great. They are developed and created through time, patience, experience, and mentoring. Whether you are leading a business or a ministry, you need to both understand and manage by effective protocols. We've spent the last several weeks taking a deeper dive into the business and ministry protocols for executing excellence. These 10 steps, the 10-step protocol, is designed to be a guide as well as a thought provoker. They include vital questions which you should be prepared to answer before you start or grow or develop your platform. Let me list them for you, and I want you to understand that they're critically important. Number 1, why is it important? Number 2, what is the problem and burning platform? Number 3, who is the customer? Number 4, what is the solution and what value does the solution create? Number 5, what is the business model? Number 6, what is the financial model? Number 7, what is the channel to market? Number 8, who are your competitors? Number 9, what are the risk and the mitigation approach? And lastly, number 10, what is the exit strategy? These points are critical for every business and ministry leaders. These are things you must be able to define, articulate, and understand clearly before launching or deciding to grow your business or ministry. Take a moment when you get a chance to go back and review our previous recordings on these specific topics. You can never over-educate yourself. I think I'll say that one more time. You can never over-educate or over-prepare yourself. The previous recordings can be found on my website, www.valeriedanielscarter.com. www.valeriedanielscarter.com. We first started with a general overview, and then we received so many requests. We took each point and took a deeper dive into it. And that entire series can be found on my website, www.valeriedanielscarter.com, under the series library tab. Just click that series library tab, listen to the wonderful thoughts that we shared with you relative to these topics, then go to the merchandise tab and help somebody else. One thing you must realize is that people, they might see your glory today. They may see where you are today. But most of them really don't understand your story. They don't know the storms, and they don't know the persecution. They don't know the trouble that you had to go through in order to get to where you are today. So often they just assumed that you're where you are because of maybe what they think they know, but they really don't know some of the things you've had to endure to be who you are today. Don't take those things for granted. Appreciate the time and the experiences that you've had in life and the things that God has allowed you to go through or navigate to get to this point. And then follow these 10 protocol steps, and let's see if we can take it a little farther. Because people, they really don't know what it's taken for you to achieve every level of success that you've achieved. Personally, I've had some experiences and some stories that would make Empire or Greenleaf or some of these, shows look like child's play, child. And the reality of it is they're acting. But I lived it. I lived through some of the things that I'm trying to share with you. If I can help and prevent you from making certain errors or some of the errors that I made in life, or if I can help you prevent some of the pitfalls that you don't have to experience, I want to be so, I would say helpful to sharing what I know. So this is my season of sharing an intergenerational transfer, especially to young entrepreneurs who want to really build out in a way that represents excellence. But I got to tell you something. Yeah, experience. I could sing that song that I said. What does it say? I've had many tears and sorrows. I've had hopes for tomorrow. But through it all, I've learned to trust Jesus. I could sing that song over and over because I really have learned to trust in God. And I've learned how to depend on him for what I need. But it was all for my making. If I had the opportunity for someone to share these protocols with me before I began or expanded my business, I could have avoided so many failures and so many pitfalls. That's why it's so important for me to hopefully grab you and tell you these are the things you should look out for. These are the things you want to watch out for, because hopefully it will help you. I would have been 10,000 times wiser if I had just had someone share these points with me. And this is why I'm so adamant about sharing them with you. Well, I know some of you texted me last week and told me, Dr. Carter, you left us with a cliffhanger last week, so I'm going to take the remainder of this evening to directly answer the questions or some of the questions that you've requested of me. And again, if you have additional questions, this is the time to share them with us. Place them in the comments section, place them on our website, and we'll try our best to answer. Remember to take a moment now to share this video, like me on Facebook, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on Instagram. I'm going to say it one more time. Share this video. Feel free to do that. Like me on Facebook. Go and subscribe on YouTube and follow me on Instagram. So let's get started with the question. The question that I left you with last week as the cliffhanger was, in reference to your business point entitled, "Who are your competitors?" Is it good to do a feasibility study or assessment to see if your company and or ministry is meeting the needs for the people they want to reach? So in essence, what this person is really saying is there value in doing a feasibility study or an assessment to ensure that your business or your ministry is doing what the objective is that they set out and is really reaching who they should reach? I want to say to you, it absolutely is a good idea. A feasibility study or assessment is something that you should do, and you should do it more often than not. It allows you sometimes to even go back and reassess what you thought may have been what you needed. We talk about it in one of the series about alternative operating strategies. If you do a feasibility study and if you do an assessment, it allows you to understand if you're meeting your customers' needs. And if you're not meeting their needs, it allows you to go back and create an alternative operating strategy in order to be able to do it. Feasibility studies also give you a directive relative to your ability not only just to understand, but to comprehend what your consumer or your customer or the person you're trying to operate with may need. I will tell you this. I've had many feasibility studies done even before I started in certain developmental processes. Before I build a restaurant, I do a feasibility study. I do an assessment. Before I expand, I do and take time to make sure we do a feasibility study to understand whether or not it's practical for us to do. When you have your feasibility study or your assessment, you also then can put it together some strategies that may even help you to introduce other things to your consumer that they didn't even know they were looking for. Tell you something about life. You cannot conceptualize what you really want unless someone verbally helps you to see it, or you've seen it for yourself. And some things, if you have never seen it for yourself, you really can't appreciate. I know I'm taking a moment, but I want to answer your questions directly. Sometimes you have to be able to do a feasibility study that not only tells your consumer what they may want and whether or not you're reaching them there, but it also will tell you what they don't know. And sometimes in introducing them to the unknown, you become more valuable to them as a leader. If you tell me something that I need to do and I launch out and do it and I'm successful, I'm going to celebrate you as my leader. I'm going to celebrate you as my mentor. I'm going to celebrate you as the person that has helped or aided me to get to the next level. It really is about helping one another get to the next level or get to the next place. And feasibility studies, assessments, and things of that nature will allow you not only to look at the today, but it will allow you to understand more clearly the tomorrow. I hope I've answered that question with some depth for you, but we'll continue. Got a question from a young lady by the name of Kathy. Kathy wants to know, is it possible to transfer ownership and maintain a certain amount of income? And I want to tell Kathy, absolutely it is. And I'm not sure which week it was. I believe it was last week where we talked about the exit strategies and the different ways you can exit ownership and maintain either a certain amount of income or the structure, having various structures. We talked about some of the various structures that you can do when you decide to sell or transfer your business. And you also want to look at the tax implication of how you sell and transfer your business. Doesn't do you any good to sell your business and then turn around and have to pay out everything that you've just received and then have taxable income on top of that. You have to be wise. You have to be strategic, and you have to have a good accountant and tax accountant working with you as you begin to transfer things that you may own. So you may want to maintain a certain amount of income so it gives you that comfort level that you need. You may want to remain in the business, or you may want to step out of the business. All of these are things that you will write up and agree to with the company or organization or person that you're either selling or transferring your business to. But it's always good, and I tell you this in life, it's always good to have a check coming in from different sources, because you never know when one of those sources may never be there. So when you're selling your business, there's nothing wrong with maintaining how the distribution of income comes to you. Thank you, Kathy, for your question. Next question comes from someone named Mary Trice. Mary has a question. How do you know what your business is worth, and how do you determine the value? And we talked about this several weeks ago because some people think their business is really worth much more than it is. And doing the proper assessments, and there are organizations and companies out there that will help you understand the value and the worth of your business. I know you worked hard. I know you worked a long time. I know you put years and years and years into this organization or this ministry. And sometimes to you, that value that you've given in terms of your personal commitment and things of that nature to build and grow this business may not be reflected in your financials. That's why it is so important to have good, and I'm going to say this, and very accurate financial statements, because you don't want to be in a position to where you've worked year after year after year after year, and you've not properly recorded everything that you may have loaned to that business or that ministry. So many times when young pastors start their ministry, they put in this to help the ministry, or they'll put in this amount to help the ministry, or they'll write a check here to help someone in the ministry, and they're donating, or they're loaning money. I remember so vividly when my brother started his ministry, and he wanted to make sure everything was just right. And so he would give his last to make sure everything was just right. And I went to him one day and I said, he was Pastor Daniels then. I said, Pastor, I said, you need to document if you are indeed loaning the church this money and you expect repayment for it for two reasons. Because you want to make sure everyone is clear about what has been put in as a loan versus what is being put in as a donation. I said, secondly, you want to make sure that it is an arm's length transaction so that the trustees and the deacons and everyone is under the same understanding that guess what? We needed a van. We didn't have the capacity at that time to buy the van. And you're going to loan the church X amount of dollars so we could buy that van. Just like we would document it with Ford Motor Credit or Chrysler Credit or a bank, we need to be able to document it with the person within the ministry that may be loaning the money to the ministry. And that is so important because it also avoids issues in the transition of that individual. So many pastors transition and they're promoted to glory, and their family is left saying, well, you know, the church owes or the ministry owes so much, but there's no documentation. Make sure there's documentation and make sure it's signed by the appropriate people. It just can't be a situation where you write a check, you put down in memo section loan, and no one knows what's going on. Make sure not only do you're clear about what you've loaned and how much you've loaned, but that it is properly documented by the right individuals. I got to go back to this point because this point is so important. Make sure the value of your business is recorded and you understand it on an annual basis. When you actually see your retained earnings, and one day we'll get into financial terminology, when you actually understand your net worth of you, your business, or your ministry, it tells you what that value is. And if you look at that number and it does not reflect what you think, then you need to sit down with your financial people and have them identify and explain to you why the net worth is what it is. Because when you get ready to sell your business 9 times out of 10 is going to be sold on the multiple of the profit. Oh, my time is almost out. They're telling me, and I've got all these questions sitting in front of me. I don't know. We may have to go live next week just to finish these questions. But I got to tell you, when you're trying to sell your business or you're trying to transfer your ministry based on value, it's based on certain multiples. Your real estate has a value. Your operations has a value. Your infrastructure has a value. There's something that's called goodwill. It has value. If you stay within the company, you may be bringing value to the company, and that has to be considered in the overall sale. My time is out. I've got more questions. I'm going to get with my team on this week, and we may have to go live again. It's time for me to close. Remember to remain positive and take comfort in these two positive scriptures, Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41:10. And remember Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not evil, to give you an expected end. You have an expected end, and that end is going to be based on the promises of God. Won't you close with me in prayer? For this time of sharing, we are grateful Thank you for your goodness and your mercy and your tender care. Continue to bless these, your people, the listeners. Give us what to say and how to say that it will empower your people. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Again, thank you for joining me. Join me next week as we continue our series of the reality of recovery uninterrupted. Take a moment to visit our website, www.valeriedanielscarter.com. Like us and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And may the blessings of the Lord be with you. And be strong and of good courage.
We're so glad you joined us tonight. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on YouTube and Instagram. We look forward to seeing you next week. Remember, you have the power to win with Dr. Valerie